So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
All right. And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me, Tamarijuana. It's a beautiful day in the East Kootenays. Blue skies, 25 degrees. My red room is set up, and I'm going to be sitting out there most of the summer enjoying it. I don't know what's really been going on this last week with everybody else, but of course the same old with legalization, 2.0 regulations. New regulations have come out for BC. Basically, it's going to be private and open liquor, but it's still going to be through the LBDs. So again, it's not exactly what we all had hoped for. We've had some disheartening news over the last week too. One of our dear friends, Christine Lowe, has been struggling with her epilepsy and in and out of the hospital. So I'd like to give a shout out to Christine and Russ. Always thinking about you guys. And this morning, thinking about people who have also been having some tough go with their epilepsy, I have Cheryl T Rose with me again this morning. And Haley's been struggling a little bit with her stuff too. Hey, Cheryl, you've been having a rough go lately, huh?
Yeah, well, over the last 2 years, there's been, or just over 2 years before she came out of the share home, she started having these weird seizures coming back. We haven't seen in over 15 years. So we're just waiting on a 2-week EEG to figure out what is going on with these weird ones that are popping up. It's the nature of the beast with epilepsy. It can change and morph over the years, and you can have great control, and all of a sudden it's gone, and you got to figure it all out all over again. So
I know it doesn't seem to be a little bit through hormonal too. Like I'm seeing and reading too a lot with Maya that maybe just not for girls, but epilepsy seems to really rear its ugly head during puberty. Is that something you guys found?
Oh
as well?
Yeah, it's actually super common. A lot more than people realize. I mean, over the last 10 years that we found out about it, I've seen so many more people come out about it. And so there's a lot more research than there was 10 years ago about it, but there was still some back then. Not as well known, but it really is much more common now to hear it talked about. And it does affect both boys and girls. As soon as those kids start hitting puberty, there starts to be issues, and it can be hormonal. Some people, there's women that don't even have a seizure and have no seizures. All of a sudden they hit menopause, they get seizures. So it may have just been...
Yeah, I have a patient like that too. I have a patient like that did not have any epileptic anything, and then she hit menopause, and she's now acquired epilepsy. So yeah.
It's weird. They really... Well, estrogen is a proconvulsant, and progesterone is an anticonvulsant. And apparently progesterone's actually a really powerful anticonvulsant. So for Haley, we give her and a lot of girls. I'm not sure 100% what they're doing to help the boys out with their hormones, but for the girls, they're using progesterone only.
Wow.
The shots, all different ways, but it's all about getting that progesterone that they're taking. No one, I don't know anyone who's taking more estrogen because, of course, that's a proconvulsant, right? So
Right. And I mean, that's the thing. And of course, everybody's individual too. It's hard to be there's no test result for one, per se, because everybody's individual, right? On all levels with that. Yeah. It's got to be tough. I've been fortunate enough not to have my children or anybody around me have to suffer with that. But, being said too, with the whole regulations too, how is that going to affect kids that are needing cannabis with the new regulations? That's not going to ease up for them, is it?
I don't think so. I think part of the problem is that there's still, yes, there's more doctors. Yes, there's more LPs for those that need to purchase through an LP. But for those that grow, I mean, I actually have been talking to some people, not necessarily parents of children with epilepsy, but just patients in general, and they're having a hard time getting their doctors to sign. Some of them aren't willing to sign unless it's for an LP. And to me, that's totally, it makes no sense. It's like saying, oh, well, I'll only prescribe you Ensure if you buy Ensure brand. You can't buy Boost, right? There's no logic in that. Same with the LP system. If somebody can grow themselves, then they should be able to. But because of the way it's going with the system, doctors are from the college are actually being pushed to only sign to LPs now. And that's a problem because now we're pigeonholing it again. And I'm totally against that, right? If you want to have a level, all different playing fields, that's awesome. But you don't go, oh, well, I won't sign you for that, but I will this, because legally it's supposed to be whatever the patient needs, right?
Right. And that's exactly what the allergy one was about.
Supposed to go by that.
My doctor is one of those doctors. My doctor is one of those doctors that signed me up and my husband last year with an ACMPR. And this year was told by the BC College of Physicians that, no, I'm not doing it. And I told her, I was at the doctor again last week and said, like, you don't understand. Like, I can't grow my own right now. I can't afford to purchase from a licensed producer. And she just kind of brushed me off and ignored me and didn't even really respond to the question. It was like, oh, this is really frustrating because I talked her around last year to signing, and to go back in there now and just be like talking to a dead wall. It's like, where did the doctor that signed this paperwork go? You know what I mean? The understanding doctor that signed them to begin with. What happened to you? And I mean, part of me wants to go to the media and really make a great big stink about it, like I did in Alberta with, when I was trying to first get my licensing in 2011. But here I'm stuck. Like, it's a small town to begin with. It took me 13 months to get this doctor because there are no doctors here taking new patients. So people say, well, fire her and get a new doctor. I wish I could, but I can't. I don't have that option. And here's the thing. We have to have a family doctor. So do I go to the media? Do I make a great big stink about it? Do I out her and end up with no doctor for my son? Or and then I have the whole community kind of look at you like, oh, because all the other doctors in town, if there's only like 30 of them. I mean, we don't have an overabundance, like 20,000 population. It's not like there's a and then you go to the ER, it would be the same because it's all the same small community. So put you between a rock and a hard spot. And I don't want to go to a licensed producer. I'm sorry. I see all these women. I've got a group that I belong to on Facebook that's oil field wives, and they're all going to the licensed producers, and it's really easy to get a license. And you can go to namaste.com now and go online and add an app to your phone, put your information in. They phone you via Skype on your phone and sign you up for 3 grams a day for a license for a licensed producer, whichever one you want. And that's now an app on your phone. So in hindsight, I'm not kidding you. So in hindsight, it's really difficult to get you per se your family doctor to sign you. But now there's apparently an app on your phone that you can just sign up to, put your name down. Within 3 days, they're calling you, and you can get 3 grams a day for a license. And it's all through licensed producer. I'm not kidding you. I have a patient here in town that's done it.
It's super easy to get it from an LP, but God forbid you want to grow your own. That's ridiculous. That's like,
right.
That's,
right.
A big problem I see, and the cost. How many people, as it is,
this
go
is free
without because
these apps are free though, right? So the apps are free, right? To get a doctor to sign you.
Medicine
paying for the medicine, right?
It's not covered.
Right. And that's the thing. The insurance isn't covering it. But in hindsight, some of these people that are signing up for the licensed producer don't know any better, Cheryl. They think that $14 a gram is a great price because they've never been to the black market. They don't have a clue what cannabis is actually costing. Like I said, I see them just jumping on the bandwagon and then they get their licensed producer licensing and they're ordering from mom dispensaries online. And, which is terrific. I have no, issue with that either.
No, that's great. And that they should be able to have that. Just as you want to order from an LP, you should be ordering from the mom. There's no reason why not.
Right. But if you've heard the murmuring, well, you're out there right now. You're in Vancouver, so you probably heard the murmurings that some, if not all of North Vancouver dispensaries have closed their doors.
No, I did not know that. See, like I'm out here and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
okay,
some
that's
of them,
not good.
some of the moms have shut themselves down. And Mota, one of the biggest edible companies out on the West Coast, was busted.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So I think a lot of people are scared right now, and I don't really blame them because we don't know what they know, and we don't know how they're coming for. So anybody and everybody right now, and because of the new regulations that's come out from the BC government, like I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, if you're a dispensary owner and you want to get BC provincial licensing, keeping your doors open right now would be ridiculous. Because in hindsight, you're running an illegal business right now trying to get into a legal market. And they're not putting anybody ahead of the queue. Just because you're a dispensary owner today doesn't mean that you're going to get a license tomorrow. You're put in the realm of anybody and everybody's, allowed to go. Like there's no special preference, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
So right. So if you're running illegally now still and trying to get a provincial licensing, good luck. So the smart thing for you
they're going to end up shutting you down and then go, oh, look, you have a criminal record. You're out.
Right. Or say you were still running into the illegal market because they're doing background checks. Don't kid yourself that they're not going to come and investigate you because they do and they will. So, that's where that's where my head's thinking. I'm thinking, if you actually want to try and get into the provincial licensing, your best bet right now is to shut your doors. As much as I hate to say that because it's going to leave patients without access in a lot of areas, right? And then it's going to push everybody into that LP system. But if you want to have a good shot at actually getting a provincial license, and I honestly see that because of the union in British Columbia, there ain't going to be any private stores here. And that's my prediction, because everything is going to be through the LBD and the liquor store, and the dang unions out here have everybody by the balls, and I'm not going to lie about it. It's terrible. I'm not a union person. I think it's the grossest misconduct out there that these unions come in and tell people how many hours they can have. Seniority tells you how much money you make. And the guys that have the seniority, terrific. For the new guy on the block, you're getting shit on. So I don't see a lot of private stores being allowed. I see a lot of cash cow money being taken by the BC government for non-refundable application fees, but I don't predict a lot of private stores being allowed to be open.
No, the hoops that you got to jump through are pretty extreme. Like even just to meet what they want, if you got to have a lot of money behind you, no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. Right? In order to do those licenses are going to be expensive in order to meet all their. Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing. I went to the Business Development Bank in Canada for the government, and if you were mentioned the word growing cannabis or helping people with cannabis in any way, shape, or form on your application, you were automatically denied. Because I made that mistake. Because I was thinking, grow store, right? Make it so that people are going to be able to grow their own medication. That's not going to be illegal. It's not a dispensary. And I was blatantly told anything having to do with cannabis, whether it's legal or not, will not be permitted. So,
what?
Right?
And yet, legal, so you should be able to easily go buy your grow equipment.
Right?
You would think.
Right. So, in hindsight, that being said, how overregulated, the next 5 years are going to be a gong show. I'm pretty sure we already know that. But, going back to the whole CBD thing too. We're just going to be coming up quickly on a break here, and so we don't have enough time to talk about the CBD, right, this, like, but I'm going to roll into it and then we'll go take a quick break. HempWorks, for example, has been pushing out CBDs mail order. Okay. Another person I know was wrapped up in this MLM marketing, whatever. They're no longer allowed to ship into Canada. They've been shut down at the border, right? So all these people that have been involved in this HempWorks are all in a great big uproar because they can't get their products now across the border because they're being told it's still illegal, which it is.
Yeah, I was talking with someone in Ontario that distributes in Canada, is one of the sales rep in Canada for HempWorks, and for the longest time, they kept telling me it was legal to send over and no problem. And I was asking, do your patients have the doctor's letters that they're required for, like, the Charlotte's Web? Because that would make it legally allowed to come over here. And I'm like, no, it's technically not legal. Oh, but there's no THC, but it's still technically not legal. You can be fighting to get it over here, but you can't go around telling people that it's legal when it's not. You can say you're fighting for it to be legal. Be honest about it, right?
Right.
But,
right. So I'm not sure of all the ins and outs of exact what went down, but I do have somebody else that's done some testing on that product and has found that it's not all it's cracked up to be either.
You know what? I've heard that from several people, and when I did ask the rep about it, she was going to get me back test results. There was just general information they had vague info, just general tests done that your overall amounts would be that, but it wasn't an individual batch number. But I still haven't seen any per batch or anything like this, any actual
okay, well,
test
on that
results,
note,
so I don't know.
Here's the funniest thing. The girl that I'm talking to, who's also a sales rep, doesn't have any test results and is asking me for mine.
Really? Oh, wow. She was going to try and mine was going to try and get them from the States for me so I could look at what they would be.
Right.
And
well, I mean, I got this blurb sent out. So. Yeah, I got this little blurb sent out about, the 0.03% THC and the stuff that's on the bottle, on the labeling, but nothing more. So on that note, we will come back and talk about snake oil salesmen, because I'm not trying to discredit any one company. I'm not trying to slander any one company. I'm just saying that, please, I've got an expert, and I consider Cheryl an expert on CBDs. I will tell you, this woman has been studying and researching for 20 years on this. So
10 on Tuesday.
10 on Tuesday, sorry.
10 on Tuesday.
So it's 10 years. So I definitely consider Cheryl an expert on CBDs. So after the break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little more about CBDs. I'd like to thank my sponsors, who are 12 High Chicks Magazine, Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, the Haley Rose Foundation, and the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana. Harvest Fest is coming up here, July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I think I should double check those dates every time I say them wrong. But Harvest Fest is coming up in July. Our song is going to be Jamaican Rhapsody, Ronald Reagan. We'll be right back after the break.
Hey, this is Cheech.
And this is Chong.
And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
What is it?
Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time.
420 Radio?
Ooh.
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Is this the real leaf? Is this the cannabis? Caught on the dry side, must escape from reality. Just legalize, and I gonna plant my seeds. I'm just a homeboy, weed is no luxury. To be here, to be there, little high, very high. Everywhere the weed grows, not all really matters to me, to me. Ganja never killed a man. Put a blunt against his head, light the light, and now he's dead. Ganja, everybody is a gift from God. So why go and throw it all away? Ganja is meant to make you fly. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, pass it on, pass it on. Save me some for later. Too late, the time has come. Getting legal around the world and improving all the time. Goodbye prohibition, grass has got to grow. Gotta leave ignorance behind and spread the buzz. Ganja. We all wanna fly. This magical herb should be distributed to all. Puff off a spliff. Purple Kush, will you make me want to go? Look at all the lights on, very, very frightening me. Over if you go. I'm just a homeboy, nobody stones me. He's just a homeboy from a dry neighborhood, staring his grass from this illegality. Easy plant, easy grow, will you let me grow? No, we will not let you grow. Let me grow. We will not let you grow. Let me grow. We will not let you grow. Let me grow. We will not let you grow. Let me grow. Since let me grow. Hills above, there's a devil on the side for me. You can't tell me and spliffs make me high. So you think you can come here and outsmoke the eye? Oh, brethren, pass it on to me, brethren. Just gotta get high, just gotta get high right now.
And we were talking about CBDs before the break and a little bit about a couple companies or whatever. Like I said, I'm not going to pinpoint any one company because that's not where my intent is to, again, educate people on CBDs and the difference in what you can and can't get. And even from the licensed producers, I'm hearing that some of their stuff is not so great either. I've had a patient reach out to me recently, and he's sucking back like 2 vials, kind of thing, within a week and not getting any relief at all. So that's, again, I'm not going to mention which licensed producer that it came from, but it still was not effective for him. So, Cheryl, you are able to grow your own still for Haley. So how do you guys find?
Pardon? Sorry, you cut off on the end there. Hello? 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 Are you guys there?
Hello? Okay. So I don't know.
Okay.
And I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what the heck happened. I was talking about CBDs, and here we are with me being disconnected again. I don't know what happened.
I'm like, where did they go?
Yeah. So what I was saying was, so you're still using CBDs with Haley quite a bit, right? So
yeah, her Haley's Comet, and then I top up with a high CBD. Of course, I'm still 10 years later trying doing mixes of other THCs along with the CBD that we use and stuff, trying to find options in case there's options. I don't want to, just in case I ever need to. So,
well, it's like I said, we talked a lot about strain specific too, right? Now you use a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not having any luck in replacing it. 10 years later, I'm still trying. I still haven't been able to find ones to mimic it properly. We can get some relief, but it's never as good as when she's on just her regular one stably. I can get close by with the numbers, but it's still, you notice a difference.
Right.
I definitely do. Just because it is strain specific. I
know that some breeders have bred the CB or THC out of the plant. Right now, what do you think of that? Like, what is what's your take on all that? Do you think it's a good thing to be breeding out all the THC out of these plants, out of these breeds, or do you think, because you hear the THC levels are 28%, that's way higher than it was back in the 70s, and and I'm going, no, it's not. The plant was still the same. It was still the same strain. It was still being grown the same. You just didn't test it or whatever, but then now you're finding that those THC levels are being taken out. Do you think that's positive to be doing that?
From my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a time where people were breeding to get that nice high THC, going, hey, this one's really strong, let's breed them together and make a really nice strong one. So when it comes to everybody now breeding out the THC, it's kind of like a reverse of what was happening before, where they were breeding it to get the high THC. Now they're breeding it the other direction. And again, I go, well, it's that CBD train wagon, right? Which is a concern to me. Hey, I'm all for CBD, believe me, but there are so many other cannabinoids that have such great potential.
Do you know who started the CBD train? Does anybody recall who started that? When and where did that even come in? Like, I remember back when I first started in 2007, we weren't talking a lot about CBDs, just CBD. We were talking a lot about CBNs and the whole spectrums of the plant and how it needed to be all, intaken by, the exact, and it was the whole plant matter that you needed to get that pain reduction and diversion, right? Then all of a sudden somebody figured they were getting too high. Who the hell was that? Because I'd like to poke them right in the eye. Like, seriously. Because, that's all I hear. And you hear people say, well, I don't want to get high. And I'm like, why? I'm going to tell you straight up. I do. I had to take some Percocet because I've torn my shoulder. And I get high when I take that to the point that I can't wait for it to wear off, because it's killing my pain. But I feel so funky that I can't wait for it to just stop. When I smoke or I vape or I eat, I don't ever get that feeling like, get me off this train. I take 1 5 milligram of Percocet and I'm waiting for that 4-hour ending. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, get me off this train.
You made an excellent point right there. And that, you know, people go, oh, I don't want the high. Really? Okay, what pharmaceuticals are you taking? You going to tell me that that's not altering you? Come on. You know, anything from antidepressants to anti-anxiety, to pain relief, to different anti-epileptics. My daughter's had some side effects that she had 12 hours of hallucinations. Like when I was younger, I did drugs. When I was younger, and I did, you know.
Cheryl, I did drugs.
I did, and I'm telling you, I had taken acid and mushrooms growing up and stuff, and I have never, ever, I couldn't even imagine hallucinating the amount that my kid was off of benzo. And also off of barbiturate. So she had 2 reactions that were just off the deep end. She had one reaction to one where she looked like she was drunk. She couldn't even walk a straight line. And then she's had ones where the barbiturates, she was thought she had diamonds or something in her skin, and was actually trying to pull them out of her flesh because they hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the first one at 11 on her birthday, we realized that this benzo we were giving her was actually, I thought something was weird and I didn't know what was wrong with her. But then on her 11th birthday, she had a seizure and I gave her the benzo as the emergency drug. We ended up in the ER. My kid had hallucinations for 12 solid hours that were more of a hallucination than I have ever encountered in my life. And that was, and then it was after 12 hours, solid hours, they sent us home. She was still hallucinating that bad. It was at least 18 before it wore off. And she literally saw things in the hospital. When she's asked about, do you remember what it was like? She starts talking about the drug reactions. That's what she remembers of her childhood, is these insane drug reactions. Aww. So when people go, oh, well, I don't want to get high, it's like, don't even use that as an excuse, because that is pathetic. Those other medications you're taking do drug you. You're going to tell me you're going to take a few Tylenols, that's not going to drug you? Yes, it does. So I just
you might not feel any effect off the 2 Tylenol like you do off, say, a Percocet or say even a cannabis, but I don't.
But there's
like
an
I said,
effect.
There is absolutely, because you're altering your levels of your brain chemical to reduce the pain. So whatever is being released in your brain to mask that pain in whatever part of your body is being done with a pill, no matter how you slice it.
And you'll get a high from it. They just don't. Yeah. It's just when people refer to cannabis, they refer to it as get high. You don't refer to it, pharmaceuticals as, hey, yeah, I'm going to get high. I'm going to go get high, right? But people don't refer to it that way. So even though they are getting high from them, they don't refer to it, and they feel that it's socially acceptable because a doctor prescribed a pharmaceutical drug that they pick up at the pharmacy. So therefore, they slide that high off as an acceptable side effect of it. That
waking up to the side effect of coffee and caffeine, right? Like, you know, all of a sudden you're kind of groggy. You take a cup of coffee and it's like, zing! You know, you might not be
I'm all good now.
per se, right? But all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, I feel a little better. Oh, yeah, I can function today. Oh, maybe I'll have 3 more cups of that. And then I'm shaking like, you know, vibrating. Oh, yeah, I had enough coffee, right?
How do I make this vibration go away?
Right? How do I get off this train? Right?
Exactly.
I know. That's what Alvin will tell you. They gave him Lyrica for his knee when he first had his microfracturing done back 4 years ago, and he took it for 4 days, and by the end of the 4th day his eye was twitching and he felt like he was a dirty junkie, you know, and he's like, I can't take this stuff, right? So he didn't. He just put it away, but because it was making his eye twitch, and I'm thinking, that's a pretty cool side effect there, twitchy. You know what I mean? in reality, but that's what I mean, like the side effects. So that's, so like I said, who started the CBD train? When all of a sudden was it, we figured out that if we push the CBDs, so nobody's going to be getting euphorically high. So that'll let the government know that we're thinking it's more medicinal. Like, I get the whole aspect, but I'm still one that will sit back and tell you, even when it comes to cancer, you need a full spectrum RSO. People going, I need CBDs for my cancer. Whoa, stop the train right there.
Yeah,
Please.
no, you need the THC.
Right?
Depending on the kind of cancer, you don't want any. Some of them, like Dr. Melamede was telling me for squacomas, or I don't even know how to say it properly, but you do not use CBD. You have to use high THC. Oh, yeah. So
a high indica, that's a high rate of THC to kill the cancer cells. But if you see some of these memes comparing to THC, CBD, CBNs, and all the stuff on these papers, you'll see the CBDs as under the cancer under the CBD. Right? So there's misinformation
weird to
out
me.
there, right? And that's what I mean, depending on who you talk to. And I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people to understand is they're talking to people that may be educated properly, and then you're talking to people that may not be educated properly. And I think that's the hardest thing to decipher, because anybody, I'm going to sit here and tell you right up, anybody who's shoving CBD straight up my, down my throat doesn't really have a clue about cannabis. They're seeing the hemp, and I get the hemp. I understand the hemp. I get it. It's the same family, not the same plant. And they're trying to hide behind the hemp, and that's killing the cannabis. So we're going to end up with all these high CBD strains that have no THC left in them, and we're going to ruin our plant. It's being ruined.
Yeah,
people.
that is a fear that because of that headwicking. Like I've seen 10 years ago, Haley's Comet was the first one that Dr. Hornby had seen other than hemp in BC that he had come across. I don't know if all of Canada, but he was testing before that for prairie plant for hemp. Mm-hmm. And so he'd seen the CBD. So when he's seen the Haley's Comet, I mean, that's 10 years ago. Since then, that's been in a massive explosion of CBD and CBD strains and breeding for CBD. And that's great and all, but okay, let's look at THCV. Let's look at, the other cannabinoids that are in cannabis, and it just seems like such a...
But they're not in
hemp,
well, that's the whole point.
Or
right?
Some of them are, though. Like, I've tested hemp, and you do see the other cannabinoids, but they're low. And the whole concentration is low, no matter what you do, right? You can extract it. That'll raise it up. But again, it's not saying, here's a high CBD strain. It's great. It's got full spectrum, blah, 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 but it's high CBD. Use that for your cancer instead of using a high THC. You can't do that. That would be wrong. I wouldn't tell anybody with epilepsy. I might say, sure, if you're worried about a high, start with the higher CBD, but you better be prepared that you may need to go to the other end of the spectrum where it's high THC. And then you get, I don't want to get high. Okay, so do you go to your doctor and tell your doctor, geez, I don't want to take, Lamictal because I don't want to get that high feeling from it. So you got to prescribe me something else. And when Lamictal is the one that you need, come on. The doctor's going to say, well, you need this drug. That drug's not going to do the job. This one will. And people will take it. So why they've got this phobia around THC is pretty ridiculous. And when they talk about, the negative side effects of too much THC and the paranoia and that, well, then you add CBD in. Or you have a strain that has some that, and on a full spectrum, the reason for it is it balances it all out. So you wouldn't necessarily get that, paranoia part of that high. Right. So
I think the paranoia too comes along with reefer madness. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? As long as you feel like you're doing something wrong, like that's what I tell my patients too. Like, don't be afraid of it. Don't think you're doing something wrong. The minute you think you're doing something wrong, you're going to be paranoid. It doesn't matter whether it's a high CBD strain or whether it's a high THC strain. Your paranoia is going to come either way because your brain thinks you're doing something wrong. So,
Oh yeah, you can have a glass of water, and if you're told not that water isn't water from the tap is bad, if you go in and if you're caught drinking water from the tap and not buying water, then you're going to go to jail. You turn that tap on, you fill that cup, you're going to be paranoid, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is; it's that stigma, right?
Right. Doing something wrong, about breaking the law,
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the biggest paranoia. So like I said, whoever jumped the CBD train and started shoving it down our throats, I'd like to find you so I can poke you in the eye, because I'm so tired of having to explain to people, like not tired, like I'm never too tired of explaining anything about cannabis. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to THC, and then, like I said, the licensed producers with the government having to cap the THC and only have a certain percentage in there, right? So who fed that bullshit to the government? Because don't tell me it's research, because we all know that there isn't any, right?
Yeah.
And if it's coming out of Israel...
That wouldn't be adequate research. That couldn't be, because what about cancer patients? Where do they fall in? They'll be drinking those bottles like it's going out of style just to try to increase their body.
Right. And that's what I mean. So you see where we're going here. It's supply and demand, right? So you have people that are demanding CBDs because they've had it shoved down their throat for the last 5 years, not even 3. It's only been about 3 years that this all CBD BS started coming around, and then knocking out everything else. Like I said, there's 400 and how many compounds? 25 compounds within the plant matter itself. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, you can't be high. Oh, we just need to infuse CBDs into the coconut oil because then you can go to work on it. So basically it was a marketing bullshit lie. And that's what I'm going to put it out there. It's a marketing bullshit lie. So they could have more people buying it.
It has great things. Like, there are great things about it. And yes, it has been shown that a lot of kids and a lot of people, it will help with epilepsy. But that isn't, I get parents who go, oh, no, I don't want that one. I want a higher CBD. Or I only want, and it's like, okay, you may want that, but that might not be what they need. And you need to put your own wants aside and go by what your child or your loved one's needs are. It's individual to their body. We have estimates on what works. So you go by what works with the estimates, and then you find what they need for them, right? And everybody's individual. So their system might not agree with what everybody else does. I mean, I've tried so many times to give Haley a higher CBD, like the 20 to 1 or the 30 to 1 or even the 15 to 1 or even the 3 to 1 or 2 to 1. And I can't get away with it. If I'm not in her right ratio, she's going to have seizures. Right? So...
Right.
And I've lived with, for the last 10 years, when you give her a more high CBD, are you sure she's not getting high? Or give her more, right? In the beginning it was, oh, you're getting your kid high. And it was, why aren't you giving your kid more CBD? Why? Now it's like, oh, okay.
Right. Well, I mean, like you said, like how much THC really gets you, like I said, the difference for me, like I said, there's no comparison. I can vape, pretty much all day, I would say. Like, not all day, like I'm not puffing like, continually, but, I have a couple vapes in the morning, mid-morning, whatever. And I'm nicely, just able to kind of function, get through my day. I take one Percocet and I am so zooed. It's like, when is it stopping? Like, I can't deal with this. My teeth are clenching together. I feel like, So to me, I would rather not take them.
Oh yeah, like I have anxiety, PTSD, and ADHD, all that wonderful stuff, and I also have pain and I have a bunch of issues. But for me, I can't use the high CBD, and I have to be in and out of hospital before I'll consider. Like, I have to be going into hospital for severe pain before I will consider a pharmaceutical, because I have such bad reactions. Like, if I take a Tylenol or Advil, I'm in pain to the point that I can't take it, and I'll take those, and then if that doesn't work, then I'll go to the hospital. But otherwise, I just use cannabis, and I use high THC cannabis. I occasionally will top up with a little bit of CBD, but not a lot. And I can consume 100 to 150 milligrams in a dosage orally, as well as vaping or smoking all day long in order to function.
Right.
So I just consider that, and that is how I function. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're doing great." It's like, yeah, I'm medicated, so. But
as long as I'm well medicated. On that note, we'll take a break so we can go get some more well medicated. I'd like again to thank my sponsors, who are 12 High Chicks Magazine, Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, Mom the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, and the Haley Rose Foundation. We'll be right back after In Disguise, Field of Green.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing, not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as a daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarijuana. Then tune in and catch Pottawa with Russell Barth, who calls himself the world's angriest pothead. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show, featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gignac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
And, and we're back with Cheryl Rose, talking a lot about CBDs and a lot about all kinds of stuff. And so, we were talking a little bit about the break about shatters and extracts and flower, and the difference. And I asked you both actually, like, are you finding that you're more congested from using shatters and extractions? And I'm finding that I am. You are finding it for you, and Al said the same. But flower, you smoke more doobie-ish? You're like a flower more too, right?
I like flowers, but I actually prefer extracts overall because of the fact that I don't have to sit there puffing all day long, including because I take it orally and then I will top up with inhaling. But I find that I've got to do it all day long if it's bud, and it's like but I do like bud. But because sometimes you don't know if the extraction's that great or not, right? So
right. And I don't, like I said, we don't have a lot of access where I am. I don't go up to the dispensaries that often because I don't. It's 35 kilometers away, and I got to pay $50 for some rosin that and then it's not that great. So I just don't bother. I kind of do some mail order here and there for us. So we smoke a lot of flower here still, because I just don't have a lot of access, right? So, and
exactly.
Once this licensed producer, whatever, take over legalization, whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure I'm going to be too eager to run out to buy their product either, because let's face it, like, everything's going to be being done, run, produced by the licensed producer. So that's going to be leaving all of these beautiful little extract companies that do such an amazing job. Where does that leave them? Out.
Oh, totally out. Which is too bad because they do a great job, right?
Oh, I know. Some of them are so tasty. Like the terpenes in them are just so flavorful, and you can really taste the strain. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get flour sometimes, and you depending on how it's cured, you really get the flavor of the flower, right? But when you're able to extract that, you really get those beautiful flavors that come out in a lot of the strains that you miss, especially if the grower possibly doesn't have, the perfect curings, and that happens a lot, I think, with the flowers too, is that people don't cure it. They don't leave it for as long as it should be taken, and with extracting, that's not imperative, right?
Yeah, because you can do it live, right? So just straight off your plants.
Right.
From
the live
growing,
rose,
right?
the live resins.
Yeah, I really like them, but it's obviously a lot more work to get them, right? Even to make them.
Yeah,
They are nice.
Can you explain to my listeners how to make them?
Well, for which kind? I did not personally do a butane extraction. I had somebody else who did it, so I didn't actually get to witness the whole cool technique. As far as, for doing alcohol extractions, I actually use what they call the green oil machine from the States, but it's effectively one of those white can, white, they look like a cylinder. They're about, a foot and a half, 2 feet tall, something like that. And they are a water distiller, and it's got a dial on it. So you can change the heat and temp. It's got a fan. And it actually, I use it because I could put my alcohol in and it reclaims it. So you can fill up your jars and you have alcohol to use again. So that's why I really like it. There are cheaper models, and I'm sure Green Oil Machine is probably not liking me saying this, but there are ones that are cheaper than getting theirs. But sorry, guys, it's true.
Is the magic butter machine the same as that? Like, I don't have anything. I don't have a machine at all.
The magic butter machine is just basically making butter, and I don't know. Guess I'm kind of old school in the way that I'll use a crock pot, or I'll either decarb first and then use a crock pot to soak and then strain, or I'll do it where you do the multiple hours in the crock pot. Then you separate your butter and cool it. Then you throw it into an empty deep fryer at 325 for 20 minutes, and then it's fully activated that way. So there's two different ways of activation, either before or after you've made your butter. That I use. That's how I do it. And I know there are other people who have different ways of doing it, and some people do it that way too. With the machine for alcohol, it is not the same as the magical butter machine, because the magical butter machine, if you can do butter, or you could do a FICO in it, and the problem with it is that it would be the same as if we used a rice cooker to make it. It all evaporates. So there's no, that's the same thing, right? The only reason why I got the grain oil machine was because it did give me the reclaim, and I liked how it gave me reclaim, because it would just pour it into the jar. So I could, fill up a second jar or whatever, right? It does about, so it does about a gallon. At the time.
It's still, when you're making an extract, it's still strain specific, everybody. So you can have a really good bag of, say, Kush. You can make butter with lactose butter on the stove with that, which is non, you're not going to blow yourself up, right? There's no toxins, no anything. You can make it with alcohol, grain alcohol, isopropanol alcohol. You can make it with water. You can actually use ice bags to extract with ice hash bubble bags. There are so many ways.
Use dry ice. You can do dry ice as well, which will give you, put your dry ice with your cannabis in your bubble bag and shake the crap out of it. We did that with, and we actually did it with Haley's Comet, and I believe it came back higher in CBD. I'm going to have to double check, but it seems like the colder you get, the more it'll pull back CBD. Your THC will be less. So remember that if you want a high THC, don't necessarily, and you've got a strain that's got CBD in it, know that the colder you get, you're going to get more of that CBD ratio.
And I always freeze my alcohol.
I throw that out there.
And I always throw my alcohol in the, whether it's isopropanol or grain alcohol, I always freeze mine. I put mine in my deep freeze for 24 hours. Always.
Me too.
And then quick wash,
when you get to dry ice, it's way cold. That much colder.
Oh yeah, way cold.
Right. So, but I always use the freezer. Always use the freezer. Freeze my alcohol, freeze my weed, everything.
Right. So, but again, if you're looking for a high CBD, you want something that has high CBDs in it. If you're looking for higher THC, there's activations, decarbolizations, there's all different ways and methods of doing things. But people know that you can do this at home. You don't have to, if you can grow your own, that means that you then have the ability to make your own extracts. So on that note, like I said, we're pro grow. So if you need, like I said, we're not really, wanting to do so much LP stuff, or you can get from the LP, you can still make your own extractions at home. So on that note, I'd like to thank Cheryl for coming on my show. It's been a great, thanks again for being there so quickly for me this morning. And I really appreciate that you come on and always have so much great information to give. Again, I'd like to thank my sponsors, who are 12 Eye Chicks Magazine, Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partner Society, MUM, Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, and the Haley Rose Foundation. We'll talk to you all next week. Have a good one.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.